In this episode of Advisor Revelations, owner of Highway Financial Networks, Bryan Erickson, shares how he finds hidden solutions that provide flexibility to clients' portfolios and increase AUM, and why integrating data into portfolio management software is key to his firm's success.
I want to welcome Bryan Erickson, president from Highway Financial here. He's going to be on the line with us. Bryan, greatly appreciate you jumping on.
It's great to be here, Kyle.
Well, before we jump right into it, I think it'd be helpful if you let our listeners know who you are, a little bit about your background, what got you into the industry here, and kind of how it's evolved since you started.
So we got started in this industry in 1987, just encouraged by my father to pursue this career. Started out with an insurance license and then a securities license shortly after that. And I've been working through various broker-dealers over the years, and then ultimately opened and managed a Merrill Lynch office, and then left that after a few years to start a registered investment advisory firm, which is Highway Financial Networks, in 2001.
That's great. Yeah, no, it's always interesting to hear, kind of what, motivated people and to get into the industry, right? Because I know me personally, I didn't wake up one day and, in elementary school and say, I want to, get into the financial services industry, right? It's not that interesting. So it's
exactly.
It's always good to know. So appreciate that. So I guess kind of jumping into, the relationship with DPL. Now you've been a member for almost 2 years at this point. So what has the partnership done for you and how has it evolved over time?
Having been in the industry for a while, I've been very interested in fee-based products. The insurance industry has been slow to enter that world. And what I found in just looking for fee-based solutions is that there are very few companies that cater to the RIA market. And when I heard about DPL, and that's your specialty, is building capacity for insurance products. So meeting with insurance carriers, developing products, and then turning those into opportunities for investment advisors was really intriguing to me because, you fill a gap that really is unique in the industry, and you end up saving a lot of time on due diligence from my perspective and looking for one product and two carriers that have a great relationship with technology firms that we work with, and you guys have just done a great job of vetting that and actually creating some pretty remarkable solutions for clients and advisors.
It's, unique in the sense that no matter what side of the table you're on, right? As far as, independent broker-dealer space, wirehouse, and now the RIA side, these products serve a need and they certainly have a fit in many client situations. So we're happy to be that partner for you to bridge that gap and ultimately offer those to your clients. One thing specifically, Bryan, kind of going back to some new solutions that we have available, you started to adopt for clients specifically that, maybe were sitting in cash, had CDs coming due. Ultimately, it was a cash alternative. We know where rates are at right now, earning 0.0 sitting in a checking account. Can you talk a little bit about those strategies and how, one, they've benefited clients, and then two, how it's been able for you as a firm to bring AUM or bring in AUM?
Sure. Well, clients have money in lots of different places. Obviously, there's portfolios that are managed in equities and bonds, and then there's cash at the bank and annuities. And what we've found is for many of our clients, the contracts for annuities were just too long for their time periods. And so they would be interested in the higher yield compared to the CD, but they didn't really want to commit to that contract, which is understandable. The carriers that we have through you, they're truly no fee, no surrender charge contracts. And so when I say no fee that the insurance company is charging for the general annuity contract for index annuity. And so we just have our fee, and that gives the client just the ability to have greater liquidity if they need to get to the funds. But the higher yields are very attractive for clients who are sitting in low interest rate CDs or money markets or savings accounts that are paying virtually zero right now.
Yeah, absolutely, Bryan. And you brought up a really good point with the difference in products, right, from the commissionable side to now the fee-based, because you are able to strip out a lot of the distribution fees within the annuity. How has that conversation changed with clients? Before, when an annuity solution was presented, well, you also had to talk about the surrender schedule. You also had to talk about the internal fees. Now that a lot of that's stripped out, have clients been more receptive to the conversation of annuities?
Absolutely. And I think one of the benefits, in addition to just not having a surrender charge, because there's no commission that's being paid, the crediting method to the client is much more attractive. So an apples to apples comparison of an index annuity with a surrender charge to an index annuity without a surrender charge is much better results for the client. The caps are higher, the participation rates we've noticed are higher. So it's been very encouraging to see the work that DPL has done to identify ways to work with these insurance companies and build a better product.
Yeah, and then to touch on that, as far as DPL working with insurance carriers, and then staying up to speed on opportunities, whether it be with new clients or existing clients with annuities. And I know there's been a couple situations where clients that do have existing annuity contracts that have actually benefited from positive market value adjustment, which is something that many people may not be aware of. That's actually a part of their current contract that, given where rates are at right now, there could be a huge opportunity to take advantage of, again, some of those positive market value adjustments within current existing annuities. So could you touch on that a little bit?
Absolutely. A little over a year ago, we began to transfer assets from contracts that were out of surrender that had lower crediting methods on an index annuity, for example, than what we could find through products that you had with the carriers that you work with. So we transferred several clients to a contract with one of your carriers with no surrender. And it was a good move. Interest rates since last year have dropped. And believe it or not, they're low and they got lower. And so as a result, these contracts had a market value adjustment, which I was a little hesitant because, in the past, market value adjustments typically are difficult to explain to clients. But we thought, well, it's as close to a bond as you're going to get, and interest rates are probably going to stay steady. That's what we thought. And so as it turned out, rates dropped. So in less than a year, we were able to capture for the contracts we had with that carrier 10% market value increase. So the adjustment was 10% in less than a year on a fixed index annuity, which is remarkable. So the only way to capture that, however, was to transfer it to another company, another carrier, which is what we ended up doing. We just met with a client. She was ecstatic. She's one of our most conservative clients. Majority of her assets are in annuities. And she loves the fact that she was able to capture a 10% increase on a fixed annuity.
No doubt. And it really just comes down to flexibility. Advisors should be on the lookout for in situations where if a client was sold, maybe an older index annuity and it's still in surrender, well, there could be an opportunity that a positive market value adjustment could outweigh that. So it's an opportunity for clients to take advantage of that. And then now on the RIA side, when you stripped out a lot of the surrender charges, well, you have a liquid product. It gives you more flexibility at any time to take advantage of features like a positive market value adjustment. So I appreciate that, Bryan. That's good information.
Well, and that's the beauty, I think, of being an advisor representing insurance products versus an agent representing insurance with commission-based products. Not that those products are necessarily bad. Many of them are great products. But you just don't have the flexibility to say to a client, hey, you know what? You've got a huge increase in your market value adjustment. Let's go ahead and transfer because there's no surrender charge to this other carrier. And it's literally like moving out of one asset class to another, even though it's the same asset class. But if there's a downturn in the market and you want to capture a gain or a loss and take advantage of a typical portfolio, you just do that at what's in the interest of your client.
Touching back on market value adjustment and throwing that back into the category of, at the end of the day, annuities can be confusing, right? I mean, there's so many different features and benefits within a lot of different contracts. So a lot of firms, a lot of advisors may not, one, understand how they work, and two, they may not have access to the information of, right, because they can't call the carrier, they can't learn about that specific product. So how has being able to lean on DPL helped you with existing clients, understanding their annuities, and then also new products that you implement within your business?
That's a great question. And that's actually one of the things we really value about DPL is when we meet with a client who has an annuity that we may not be as familiar with, where it has riders and benefits and features to it that we're unaware of how those actually work and what the value of those are, we can send that contract to you. You guys do the research on it, do the comparison, and you look at, is it best to keep this product or this contract for the client, or is it better to move it? And then you get the pros and cons for both. And it's just really helpful because, again, our goal as an advisor is to give great advice. And sometimes when you're just looking at a product, it looks like it might be good, but there might be some features that are just never going to be utilized by the client. And those are the things that they're paying for that are really diminishing their returns. So moving to another product may actually be in their best interest. On the other hand, if they plan to use those benefits, those riders, then it might be better to keep the product where it is. And you guys are just great at providing that analysis for us.
That's right. It comes down to what we're sitting on the same side of the table as you. What is in the best interest of the clients? And you're exactly right. There's a lot of opportunities out there with existing annuities to give them better outcomes, better solutions on the fee-based side. But there's also features and benefits that they may have within their existing contract that they may not know, and something that they could take advantage of if it doesn't make sense to move to a fee-based capacity. So the last thing I want to touch on too is you think about insurance companies and RIAs, and technology is important, and it's always been slow moving on that side. So can you touch on a little bit from starting out with an insurance background to now being on the fee-only side? How have you seen insurance companies start to bridge that gap from a technology standpoint and ultimately getting data and values over to portfolio management software that you're using?
Oh, that has been a challenge, to be honest with you. So insurance carriers, again, have great product, but they're built on legacy systems. These insurance companies have been around, a lot of them, for 100 years. So legacy systems, I guess, are truly legacies. So they do their best on product, but the innovative RIA side of the business is technology intensive. So we want to make sure we have data that's migrating from our custodians, which the insurance carrier becomes a custodian for a client, so we can get the data into our portfolio accounting system. And again, DPL has just done an amazing job of vetting that process. So, first question I ask of any product that you recommend to us is, can I get that information into our portfolio accounting system? And the answer is yes, almost every time. So then the challenge then is just making sure all those systems are set up. And each carrier does have a different level of sophistication, but having DPL help with that process has been really valuable to us. Right now, the most recent carrier that we started utilizing with you has invested heavily compared to other firms in technology, and it shows. So I think that's going to be the trend. I do believe that the insurance marketplace has identified that the real assets are in the investment advisor's control, and so if they want to have larger annuity contracts and have truly advice-based clients and relationships with advisors, they're going to need to continue to invest in that area, and we're seeing the evidence of that. And I would say that's in large part due to what you guys at DPL have done to really encourage companies to invest in this movement of RAs embracing the insurance products.
Absolutely. From a client standpoint, we know these products are important, but from a firm standpoint as well, it's also important for ease of business, right? We want to make sure that that's as seamless as possible, and that's always at the top of our priority list as well. So I'm glad that you've been able to speak on what it looked like on the other side, right? And then how you've seen that evolve over time now being as an RIA. So I do appreciate it, Bryan. Again, thank you very much for, one, being on the podcast, and two, being a great partner for us. We greatly appreciate it. You're using the products, the solutions we have available on our platform for all the right reasons, and I'm looking forward to one, the rest of the year, and then to the future here. So again, thank you very much, Bryan.
Well, thank you. We look forward to a mutually profitable relationship as well, and I appreciate the work that you have done at DPL and will continue to do, I'm sure.
Thanks for listening. You can hear more Advisor Revelations at dplfp.com.